The Olmec culture was a civilization that developed during the pre-classic period of Mesoamerica and was one of the first civilizations in this area in the Americas. The oldest traces of Olmec culture are estimated to date back to around 1200 BCE, and the most recent to around 400 BCE. The word Olmec means inhabitants of the rubber region and was used by the Mexicas, or known as the Aztecs, to name several ethnically and logistically diverse peoples who occupied the region of Veracruz and Tabasco region in Mexico over the centuries. The name given to themselves by those we call Olmecs is unknown. The cult of the feathered serpent as a deity associated with agriculture, the religious symbolism of jade, and even the artistic style itself, which was intensively reworked in the centuries following the decline of the main centers of this period. This was the reference to the serpent god Quetzalcoatl, or Kukulkan. In this part of the video, I will be reading the Spanish description of these sculptures, but translating them in English. These are sculptures that were created from the thought of ideas related to the ball game, which was an extraordinary religious ceremony. It is seen as the presence of the era of the first meaning of religious sacrifice, and is recognized as the Olmecs of the pre-classic period 1800 to 100 BCE, were those who founded the ball game and created the religious principles of pre-Hispanic Mexico. One of the ashes has the head of the character, with his mustache, and the face is similar to the Olmecs. Some of the ashes have a character, the head of an old man. In addition, we see how certain animals associated with religion are represented with the heads of hundreds of birds and a complete fish on a human head that represents the water of the sea, related to the origin of life. Their name is due exclusively to the shape they have, which is similar to a part of the tree since they are narrow at the base and widen at the top. The palms are part of the group of sculptures, Ugo axes and palms, from the classical period that are related to the ball game that was a religious ceremony and a character that was sacrificed, as seen in one of the sculptures of the palms represent a sacrificed person since he has a wound in his chest. Since his heart had been removed, and it is seen how his arms were tied behind his back. In other palms, the head of some characters represented, since priests or leaders of the members of the Gulf Coast are also represented, and several of them are richly dressed and adorned, and one of the palms represent the arms with their joined hands. The three stone sculptures of Yugos, or known as belts, axes, and palms, the creation of groups from the Gulf Coast, had a complex religious meaning, related to the cult of the dead and the underground world that was also associated with the ball game called pelota. In some palms, we see scenes of sacrifice, and most of the axes we can distinguish the cult of the head. On the other hand, in many of the Hugos, the monster of the earth is shown, from whose jaws a human head emerges. This sculpture is showing the character sitting near the snake and has a snake head on his head. His right hand is holding a bag and his left arm is over his body. He has a very special suit and was a very important character relating to the Olmec religion of Mesoamerica. It is the first representation of the snake, which was a symbol from the Olmec era of water that was fertilizer and fertilized the earth, within which vegetation and food for human beings were made. The snake upwards was related to heaven, since the water came from above, but was also in the sea and the rivers of the Gulf Coast of pre-Hispanic Mexico. In pre-Hispanic times, the Olmec culture was the first culture of great importance.